You don't think you're special? Hi, this is Chris from the Living Post, and I am going to be talking more specifically about self-love. Self-love has been very popular, or is becoming more popular as time goes on here in the last, I don't know, maybe a year, could have been longer. I mean, we've always had some type of self-love, but they're actually calling it that now. And what I'm talking about is that I think self-love is another form of selfishness. And I'll explain why. It can start out as very innocent. Self-love is a form of just making sure your needs are getting met. You know, like food, water, shelter. I mean, those are our basic needs. I mean, sometimes people think they need more stuff. I mean, definitely we need clothes, but do we need designer clothes, or do we need a special kind of clothes because somebody else has it? See, it starts getting a little bit more much of a gray area when you start talking about that, because it starts going from needs to wants. And it's really hard to know what you need when we're in this society, because there's so many things that we can have and so many things we can afford that it makes you wonder, what do I really need? Well, it seems like we need a lot of things, but we actually don't. I mean, there's third world countries that they barely get one meal a day, if that. They barely have maybe one set of clothing or one set of shoes, if that. In shelter, they just probably have one hut or a room, some type of room or small shelter that they're in. That's it. And actually, a lot of them are happy. So how can that be? How can they be so happy when they don't have much of their needs, or we don't think they have much of their needs? And actually, that's all they need. That's all we need. But because of our selfishness and because of what we see around us and all the people that have so much more than us, depending who it is and where you're at, we think we need more. And we don't think it's fair. Why did that person get it and I can't? So then it becomes more complicated. Well, if I really love myself, I should get that. I should have this. I should really have that. See how complicated self-love is? It's not very easy to start differentiating between what I need and what I want. And then going into more, then you start wondering, well, I should feel better. I should feel happy. And you don't make me feel happy, or that doesn't make me feel happy, so stop it. And you start condemning that which is around you just because it's not making you feel good. And then after a while, something else happens, and you turn into a selfish person. So the first thing I want to explain to you is that what I've just said is that self-love is more than just needs and getting your needs met. It's wanting your wants met. It wants you to be feeling better and good all the time, or most of the time, right? We deserve it. We gotta love ourselves that much. So whatever it takes, right? Well, like I said, that leads into selfishness. And it becomes more important that I get what I want, what I need, what I deserve, or whatever I feel I deserve. It makes me feel good. That's what I'm gonna get, no matter what it takes. And then the third thing that leads to, sad to say, but it's very true, is bad relationships. And I'm not talking about somebody who abuses us or people that treat us badly. I'm talking about relationships that could be even good. A person that probably really loves you or cares about you, and you're not gonna take just what they offer. You're gonna demand more. Because if they start arguing with you, well, they shouldn't argue with me because I don't deserve that. That doesn't make me feel better. I should get what I want, right? If they say that I shouldn't get this, or if they're not gonna, respect me the way I want them to, then forget it. I'm out of this relationship. Or you're gonna treat them rotten because, well, if they're gonna treat me that way, I'm gonna treat them just as bad or worse. And they'll deserve it. Oh yeah, they deserve it. Even if I did something wrong, it's not as bad as they did. Right? That's how it works. I've seen it over and over and over again. And it's really sad because, like I said, it leads to bad relationships, and actually it leads to no relationships in many cases. And then you wonder why people are lonely. People are feeling isolated, feeling depressed, because their relationships are so surface, because they don't want to get hurt, and they don't want to love another person, so the other person's feeling hurt. And you're hurting one another all the time, constantly. And there's no forgiveness, or if there is forgiveness, it's fleeting. Because it's like, well, I'll forgive you this much, but you better get better, because otherwise, forget it. And then if they do something wrong again, they'll bring it up, all this other stuff, so that they can get their way, and they don't have to feel bad about it, or they don't have to get hurt anymore. You know what? It all sounds good. That, well, I don't get hurt as much. I'm going to get my needs met. I can get my wants met. I can feel better. It all sounds good, but it leads to bad relationships or no relationships. That's why self-love is just so backwards, because it leads to so many bad things. I mean, on the surface it looks good because you're getting your needs met, but it's not just needs. It leads to so much more. So what's the answer then? Just have bad relationships? Just be on the surface? Just accept the fact that, well, I just don't have people that love me. Nobody cares about me. I just accept that fact. As long as I love myself, that's all that matters. That's pretty sad. Because what you haven't learned is that the fourth tip, that you have to take the hit. And that means you have to allow the other person to hurt you and not hurt back. That means in a fight or argument, or where they treated you badly, not that you would have somebody beat you up. I mean, that would mean that you would probably have to seek help. But that if somebody's really hurt you, that you're able to say, I forgive you, and just listen to why they hurt you and ask them, what's the reason why you did that? And sometimes they have a good reason, or they're hurting themselves. That's when you care for them and love them through their hurt. And then they'll be able to trust you. And maybe they won't hurt you as much the next time, or maybe they'll learn from it and you'll have a better relationship. Because that's what it's all about, is to get better relationships and be healthy human beings. And then maybe they'll start understanding you, and then you can share your hurt, and after you express your love towards them, then they're open to hearing why you were hurt by that and what you desire, and then you talk it through and forgive one another. That's what true relationship is all about, not self-love. You put the person ahead of you. And once you put the person ahead of you, then you can teach them and help them to put your needs ahead of themselves and say, this is what I did. Do you understand how that works? That's why I'm able to love you. That's the only way you're going to be able to love me, is to put my needs ahead of yours. But you don't demand it. No, you don't demand it. You never demand it, because it always seems like you're getting short-ended. Me and my wife, we're constantly, I want to say it's like every day. Sometimes it feels like that in any relationship, especially when you're really close. We're really close and we love each other so much. But it just, I mean, there's always something that comes up, and it always seems like I'm the one that's getting shorthanded, or she feels the same way. We've had many discussions, and she's like, I feel like I'm doing all this stuff and you don't understand how much I care and blah, 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 and you don't appreciate it. And then when I see that, I think, oh, we're so much the same. Because it's all relative, right? I mean, she's in a different place than I am. She's got different strengths and weaknesses. So because I see her weaknesses, I think, well, that's not fair. Look at all her weaknesses. But she sees my weaknesses. And she goes, but you do this, this, and this, Chris. I'm like, oh, she's right. We all have weaknesses. And we all have strengths. And so we should recognize that and work together and find ways that we can work together and get what we need accomplished. And if we can't accomplish that, then we got to find new goals. Anything to put the relationship first. Because what's more important? Me or her or the relationship? See, it's not about self-love. It's about the relationship. It's about the community. It's about our society. How are we going to have a society, a community, a relationship if all we care about is ourselves? It's not possible. Because you know what? If we all are about self-love, you know what that leads to? Survival of the fittest. A bunch of animals. That's all it is. We're a bunch of animals then. You want to be an animal or a human? A human being who loves, is able to take the hit, able to forgive, able to love in the midst of hurt, and teach and experience the other person's feelings so that you can teach them how to love back. And sometimes they aren't able to learn right away, but you work together as best you can. And so, yeah, sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes it takes too long. Well, that relationship probably is going to have to be on hold or not be as strong in your life. If it's your spouse, then you're gonna have to talk through. That's why we have counselors. But have a counselor that understands what it means to really love one another. Not just, well, you do this for me and I'll do it for you, and that's a business transaction. I've been in counseling sessions like that, and sometimes it ends up being that way. But hopefully not. Hopefully you both can get to a point where the relationship is most important, and you both have to take the hit, you both have to forgive, you both have to let go of what you're hurting from and love the other person. And when you both can do that, then you have a relationship. That's what the balance is. That's the fifth tip. The fifth tip is learning to love one another and to care about one another to a point as much as you can so that you can both experience love and have a relationship. And the more you do that, the closer you're going to feel, and the stronger the relationship's going to be. But the less you do that, the less a relationship you will have, and the less love you'll feel. It's up to you. It's your choice. It's both of your choice. And I would recommend that you look to other people for support. Some people that really understand what it really means to love and care and forgive and all the things that tend towards a better relationship. Not just somebody that's going to agree with you, but somebody that's really going to understand what it takes to have a good relationship. And with that support, it'll guide you through what you should do in each step of the way. Because sometimes it means separation for a time or ends up in divorce. Me and my wife were both divorced because of that. Because the other person did not want a relationship. All they wanted was self-love. And this is Chris from the Living Post.